Okay. So what if the nation-state, the single most powerful institution we've known for the last 500 years, is about to become obsolete? Today, we're digging into a pretty radical prediction that the digital revolution isn't just changing how we live and work. It's actually set to dismantle the very structure of government as we know it.
So our guide for this whole deep dive is the 1997 book, The Sovereign Individual. And I know what you might be thinking. 1997? That's ancient history in tech years. But trust me, its thesis has become more relevant and, frankly, more debated than ever. The core idea is that we're living through a historic power shift, one that empowers individuals at the direct expense of the nation-state.
And the authors, well, they really don't pull any punches about how huge this change is. They argue that microprocessing is going to subvert and destroy the nation-state, and probably faster than almost anyone can imagine. So we're not talking about just a minor software update here. This is a full-on system reboot.
Now, to get our heads around this future, the book asks us to look back, and I mean way back. It draws this fascinating parallel. What if the massive, centralized governments we saw in the 20th century are basically following the exact same playbook to decline as another all-powerful institution did 5 centuries ago? And this is where the whole historical thing gets really, really interesting. The book argues that there's literally a blueprint for how major institutions collapse. See, whenever there's a huge technological shift, the old power structures just can't keep up with the new economic reality. It's like we've seen this movie before. So picture this. It's the late 15th century, and the big boss on campus isn't a government, it's the church. It had immense economic, political, and social power all across Europe. For pretty much everyone, it was the unshakable bedrock of society. But by the end of the Middle Ages, that bedrock was starting to show some serious cracks. The church had become, as the book puts it, senile and counterproductive. It was seen as corrupt, its huge bureaucracy was a total drain on the economy, and the costs it was piling onto the population were just becoming unsustainable. Does any of that ring a bell? And this is where the parallel gets crystal clear. Back in the 15th century, gunpowder completely changed warfare. It broke the military dominance of the old feudal lords and the whole system the church sat on top of. Well, today, the argument is that microprocessing and the internet are doing the exact same thing. They're breaking the nation-state's monopoly on information, on commerce, and on capital. The pattern is identical. So, fast forward to today, and we're supposedly seeing that exact same blueprint play out, but this time with a modern nation-state. Just like the church 500 years ago, the authors claim today's governments have pretty much exhausted their potential. They're massively in debt, they're becoming more and more inefficient, and they're starting to hurt the very prosperity they were created to protect. And this number right here, this really gets to the heart of the crisis. The book predicts a staggering 50 to 70% drop in the ability of governments to collect taxes. So why the huge drop? It's because the most valuable assets today aren't physical things anymore. They're not tied to a location. They exist in the cloud and can be moved beyond the reach of any single taxman in an instant. So what happens when the state starts to lose its grip? Well, a power vacuum opens up. And the book has a name for the groups that rush in to fill it. The new barbarians. These aren't hordes at the gate. They're microparasites, organized crime, corrupt officials, and other groups that operate outside the law, basically using the state's own intimidation tactics, but on a smaller, more nimble scale. And here's the really important takeaway. This doesn't mean some single new world order takes over. No, not at all. Instead, power shatters. The very process that built up these massive nation-states over the last 5 centuries starts to go into reverse. We could be heading back to a more complex, almost medieval-looking landscape of smaller, competing, and overlapping powers. But as the old protagonist, the nation-state, starts to exit stage left, a new one steps into the spotlight. This is the central character of the information age, the sovereign individual. So who is this sovereign individual? Well, the book calls them the cognitive elite, basically people whose success isn't tied to any one place. Their main asset is what's in their head, their intellect, their ideas. They can work from anywhere, earn from anywhere, and store their wealth anywhere, all while operating in this new borderless world of the cyber economy. And this is all possible because of a massive shift in what wealth even is. For centuries, wealth was physical. It was land you could stand on, right? Then, in the industrial age, it became factories and big machinery. But now the biggest source of wealth is completely intangible. It's an idea in your head, an algorithm, a patent, a unique skill, a complex financial strategy. It's pure intellectual property. And here's the kicker. That kind of wealth is incredibly mobile. It can zip across the globe at the speed of light, making old-school ideas about taxation and control look, well, pretty obsolete. I love this quote from the book. It just nails it. Cyberspace becomes this new frontier where the old rules just don't apply. It's a place where you can do business without the threat of physical force, and where taxes might become something you pay voluntarily for services, not something that's taken from you by default.
Okay, so if this whole massive shift is really happening, what are you supposed to do about it? How do you prepare? Well, the book isn't just a grim prediction. It's also a kind of playbook for how to navigate this new world.
The very first thing, according to the book, is a huge mental shift. You stop thinking of yourself as just a citizen, a passive subject tied to a piece of land. Instead, you start acting like a customer of sovereignty. You begin to look at governments the way you'd look at any service provider. You weigh the services they offer, like protection, against the price they charge in taxes.
And once you make that mindset shift, a whole new strategy for protecting your wealth opens up. It means focusing on mobile, digital assets over things that are stuck in one place. It means using tools like encryption to keep your property and your privacy safe. And, most importantly, it means diversifying everything across multiple jurisdictions, so you're never at the mercy of one single government's bad decisions.
So, if the world is becoming a marketplace for governments, what does a good buy even look like? The book suggests that the winning jurisdictions of the future will be smaller, leaner, and way more competitive. They'll act less like giant bureaucratic empires and more like exclusive clubs or city-states, trying to attract their most productive customers with great service, strong property rights, and low taxes.
And that really brings us to the final provocative question at the heart of this whole idea. As the world transforms into this competitive marketplace of governments, every productive person is going to face a choice. Are you going to remain a citizen, subject to the whims of a decaying monopoly? Or will you become a sovereign individual, a customer who demands value, efficiency, and freedom? The book argues that your answer to that question will define the winners and losers of the next 100 years.